India is now the fifth largest economy in the world, having overtaken the United Kingdom in terms of nominal GDP. With an estimated GDP of $4.17 trillion, this milestone is a testament to the nation's growing global economic significance. When we talk about the Indian economy, it's impossible not to feel optimistic. Analysts and experts alike have dubbed India as the next economic superpower, a title that captures both the potential and the ambition of this vibrant nation. At the heart of this transformation are its bustling cities, like Noida and Bangalore, which are becoming hubs of manufacturing and technology. These cities symbolize a nation on the rise, leveraging its youthful workforce, increasing consumer demand, and innovative spirit. Yet, India's economic journey is not without its challenges. Behind the optimism lie critical questions. Can infrastructure keep up with the rapid pace of growth? Will the workforce be adequately skilled to meet future demands? And can India sustain this momentum to truly cement its place as the world's next growth engine? In this video, we'll delve into the factors driving India's economic rise, the hurdles it must overcome, and its prospects for shaping the global economy. Stay tuned to discover what lies ahead for this dynamic powerhouse, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Economy Explorer. Every insight counts, and you won't want to miss any part of this fascinating journey. India's economic strengths. Industrial expansion, the rise of a manufacturing powerhouse. In the heart of Noida, a city just outside Delhi, massive factories are reshaping India's industrial landscape. Take, for instance, the Dixon Technologies facility, a sprawling million-square-foot hub employing over 26,000 workers. Not far away, Samsung's state-of-the-art plant churns out 120 million smartphones annually. These examples are just a glimpse into the larger story of India's industrial revival. The government's Make in India initiative, launched in 2014, has set the stage for this transformation, attracting both domestic and international players to invest heavily in the manufacturing sector. Companies like Apple, Boeing, and Tesla are no longer just observing from afar. They're setting up shop in India, contributing to the country's rising status as a manufacturing hub. But here's the real question. Can India sustain this growth? Or is it just the beginning of a larger economic shift? Digital revolution leading the world in payments and innovation. Picture this: more than 10 billion digital payment transactions occurring every month, more than the combined total of the next 4 leading countries. India isn't just catching up in the digital race, it's sprinting ahead. The Unified Payments Interface, UPI, has revolutionized how people and businesses transact, making India the global leader in digital payments. But it's not just about payments. Investments from tech giants like Microsoft and Amazon are propelling India into the future, with billions pouring into cloud infrastructure and AI development. With 881 million internet users, India's digital economy is poised for exponential growth. As you think about this digital transformation, consider how it's already impacting everyday life in India, perhaps even setting trends for the world to follow. Economic momentum, resilient growth amid global slowdowns. While much of the world grapples with economic uncertainty, India stands out as a beacon of resilience. The GDP growth rate, projected at 7% for 2024, solidifies India's position as the fastest-growing major economy. Consumer demand remains robust, fueled by a middle class that continues to expand both in size and spending power. What makes this growth even more remarkable is its foundation, a mix of domestic consumption and strategic investments in infrastructure. For instance, initiatives like the Bharatmala Pariyojana have enhanced road connectivity, while freight corridors streamline logistics for industries. These developments are not just numbers on a balance sheet, they're setting the groundwork for a more interconnected and efficient economy. But as impressive as this progress is, what's the next big step for India's economic journey? Stay tuned as we explore the challenges that could either propel India to even greater heights or slow down its momentum. The China comparison. Slowing momentum, the end of China's miracle growth. For decades, China's meteoric rise was the story of global economic transformation. From the 1980s onward, its sweeping reforms turned the nation into a manufacturing powerhouse and the top contributor to global GDP growth. But what happens when the engine that has driven the world's economy begins to stall? Today, China faces challenges that seemed unimaginable during its peak growth years. A lingering property crisis has created uncertainty in its real estate sector, once a pillar of its economy. Combine this with an aging population. By 2040, over 28% of China's citizens will be over 60, and it's clear that China's golden era of growth is fading. As China's trajectory slows, the world is left wondering who will take its place as the leading growth driver. A tale of two populations, youth versus aging. India's demographic advantage couldn't be more striking when compared to China's aging population. With over 2/3 of its population under 35, India boasts the largest young workforce in the world, a stark contrast to China, where the population is not only aging but shrinking. In 2023, India officially surpassed China as the most populous country, a symbolic and strategic turning point. But demographics alone don't guarantee success. The challenge lies in whether India can effectively harness its youthful population through education, skilling, and employment opportunities. It raises a compelling question. Can India avoid the pitfalls of its neighbor and turn its demographics into its greatest asset? Manufacturing shift, from made in China to make in India. Global supply chains are undergoing a seismic shift. Once dominated by China, the manufacturing landscape is now looking to diversify, and India stands to gain. Multinationals like Apple and Tesla have already begun shifting operations to India, drawn by its affordable labor and growing infrastructure. Yet, India's manufacturing base is still in its infancy compared to China's highly developed ecosystem. Consider this. While China boasts a vast high-speed rail network and world-class logistics infrastructure, India is still racing to upgrade its ports, airports, and highways. The potential is there, but can India scale up quickly enough to meet global demand? This is a race where every moment counts. Trade relations and strategic alignments. China's strained relations with the West have opened new doors for India. Western nations, eager to counterbalance China's influence, are increasingly looking to India as a strategic and economic partner. Trade agreements, investments, and bilateral collaborations are all aligning in India's favor. Yet, India must tread carefully. While opportunities abound, over-reliance on Western partnerships could create new vulnerabilities. How India navigates this delicate balancing act will play a pivotal role in its rise on the global stage. With every shift in global dynamics, India is steadily positioning itself as the next big contender. But as we'll see next, the challenges India faces are as formidable as the opportunities it seeks to seize. Challenges for India's economy. Infrastructure, a nation racing against time. India's highways are expanding at a pace of 10,000 kilometers annually, and airports have doubled in number since 2014. Yet, the gap between ambition and reality remains vast. A striking example came in 2024 when a portion of New Delhi's revamped airport infrastructure faced delays due to quality concerns, raising eyebrows about the long-term sustainability of such projects. India's manufacturing corridors lack the seamless connectivity seen in southern China, where high-speed rail and world-class logistics hubs form the backbone of its industrial might. Ports like Mumbai and Chennai are bustling but often overwhelmed, delaying shipments and increasing costs. For a country aiming to become a global manufacturing hub, time is of the essence. Can India's infrastructure catch up to its economic aspirations, or will it remain a bottleneck in the race for global competitiveness? Workforce dilemma: the twin issues of participation and skill. With over 2/3 of its population under 35, India has the world's largest young workforce. But there's a catch. Only about 55% of the working-age population is actually employed or actively seeking employment, one of the lowest rates globally. For women, the numbers are even bleaker, with cultural and systemic barriers keeping many out of the workforce. Meanwhile, industries ranging from technology to agriculture are clamoring for skilled labor, but the education system is struggling to meet these demands. Half of India's fifth-grade students can't read at a second-grade level, a sobering statistic that underscores the depth of the problem. Imagine the economic transformation if this untapped potential could be realized. But with automation on the rise, is India equipping its workforce to stay relevant in the future economy? Economic disparities, growth that isn't shared. Equally, India boasts 167 billionaires, yet over 129 million people live below the poverty line. This stark contrast is a recurring theme in the country's development narrative. While urban centers like Mumbai and Bangalore glitter with skyscrapers and tech parks, rural India faces underdeveloped schools, poor health care, and limited job opportunities. These disparities not only hinder overall growth, but also fuel social and economic tensions. Picture a nation where rural roads are just as vital as metro lines, and you begin to see the scale of what's required. If India wants to grow sustainably, bridging this gap will be one of its most pressing challenges. Policy complexity, when progress gets tangled in red tape. Despite numerous reforms, India remains one of the most challenging places to do business. Complex tax systems, slow judicial processes, and bureaucratic red tape discourage potential investors. Even homegrown businesses struggle with compliance costs that stifle innovation and expansion. For instance, while the Goods and Services Tax, GST, simplified taxation to some extent, its implementation left many businesses grappling with operational hurdles. The irony? India's vast market holds immense potential, but realizing it requires cutting through layers of inefficiency. Will the government's ambitious policy reforms be enough to attract and retain investment, or will red tape remain the Achilles heel of India's economy? Stay tuned as we dive into India's potential solutions and the strategies it must employ to overcome these formidable challenges. The path forward. Imagine an India where a freight train seamlessly travels from Mumbai to Delhi in record time, supported by high-speed rail and upgraded ports. This vision is inching closer to reality as projects like the Bharatmala Pariyojana and dedicated freight corridors come to life. The government is pouring billions into modernizing infrastructure, aiming to resolve bottlenecks that have held back growth for decades. The completion of the Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor has already reduced logistics costs for industries and increased efficiency. Yet, this is just the beginning. With more highways, airports, and metro lines on the horizon, the question remains: will India maintain this momentum and deliver the infrastructure needed to sustain its economic ambitions? India's young population is its most valuable resource, but unlocking their potential requires a revolution in education and workforce participation. Programs aimed at upskilling workers, like Skill India, are a step in the right direction, but they must be scaled up dramatically. Imagine the impact if even a fraction of the country's untapped labor force, especially women, were empowered to participate fully in the economy. Strengthening vocational training and digital literacy can bridge the gap between jobs and the skills required to fill them. With these efforts, the immense potential of India's youth could transform challenges into unprecedented opportunities, driving the country closer to its goal of global economic leadership. India's partnerships with nations like the United States and Japan are unlocking new opportunities in trade and investment. Agreements with the UAE and the EU exemplify how India is opening its markets to the world, enhancing its geopolitical influence. Sustaining this momentum, however, demands that India ensure its policies remain adaptable and investor-friendly. The delicate balancing act of prioritizing domestic needs while expanding its global role is critical to its success. India stands at a crossroads, poised to redefine its place in the world. The choices it makes today will shape not just its future, but the global economy itself. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to Economy Explorer. Be sure to check out one of our suggested videos to keep exploring the fascinating world of global economics. Thank you for being a part of our channel.